Hey YouTube, I'm so excited to be here. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Today is Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. I am super pumped. My name is Courtney Tompley. I am a lead beauty guide with Lime Life by Alcone. So today I am going to be doing a get ready with me with Lime Life's products. So if you catch this, let me know that you came, you stopped by. This is one of my first videos with YouTube, so I'm not exactly sure how it works and how the comments works, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, like I tell my Facebook viewers, spread me around like butter on a biscuit. If you want to, hit that share button, let your friends know. We're just gonna talk about a few items that I use in my daily routine, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So, first thing I am going to use is my 40 Cure Cream. So this is one of the best lotions out there. It is not necessarily made for your face, it's made for your body, but I love to use it on my face because I tend to get really dry around my nose, my forehead, on my chin, my cheeks, and sometimes on my chin. It just depends, especially in the wintertime, it's really, really bad. So no matter what I'm doing, if I'm going to bed, if I'm doing my makeup, if I'm waking up in the morning, soaking my feet at night, not soaking them, but moisturizing them, I will wear socks and coat this stuff on here. A little bit goes a very long way. This tube is still almost full. I've had this tube for probably 3 months now, so it's a great investment. You can use it on your kids, you can use it on your elders, you can use it on yourself. It's an all-natural product, and it's called 40 Cure Cream by Lime Life by Alcone. Next thing I'm going to do is my Perfect Sunscreen. It is so important to protect your skin because when we don't protect our skin, sun damage affects our fine lines, our wrinkles, age spots, sunspots, all of those areas. But to top it off, Lime Life sunscreen has primer in it. So when you put this on, you're moisturizing, you're priming, and you're protecting your skin. So it's basically a 3-in-1 product. So it's really great to put on before your makeup, especially if you have deep inset wrinkles, if you have large pores, if you have fine lines, anything like that. It's really going to help to get in those areas to prime that face, so then your foundation is not going to sit in those creases or those pores. So that is a huge plus. So this is called Perfect Sunscreen by Lime Life. All of these products can be found in my link if you're interested in any of them. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is, unfortunately, I broke my eyebrow pencil. So this is not my natural color, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this guy. This is Lime Life's brow pencil. It comes in light, medium, and dark. So this is the darkest shade. It's got a little brow tamer on the other side, which is bomb. And then it's also got a very, very fine tip in it. So that way it gives you those precision lines that you want in your eyebrows. So you can go with a lighter coverage, or you can go with a little bit heavier, just depending on how you like your brows to look. I like mine to look a little bit thicker, especially in the back area back here. So I will add a few extra strokes in the back, and then just kind of lightly and longer strokes in the front. And there we go, my eyebrow is filled in. So now what I'm gonna do is take this brow tamer here, and I'm just gonna brush my eyebrow. And it's very, very creamy, so you can see the color spread. So you can leave those lines in there, or you can comb it out so it's nice and full, just depending on what you want. The best thing about this brow tamer is how soft it is, but it's great because you can push the color to the outside here, just like this, if you have too much color in the front there. And then you buff it out, and whenever we go to do our foundation, I can wipe that away and clean it up, and it's gonna look so good with how sharp my eyebrows are. So again, full in the back. And then I'm just taking smaller strokes here to get more in there. And then in the front, I'm just gonna do a few longer strokes just to fill it in, because I don't want it to be too heavy or too dark. So you can see how much darker this one is than this one because of how dark I went. So that's why it's so important to brush them out, to make sure that any residual color that's in there that you don't want in there, you can move around and kind of manipulate it to how you want it. And again, like I said, this is not the typical color that I would use. I would use our medium brown, but I I broke it. So I'm waiting for it to come back in stock. I mean, I ordered it yesterday, so not back in stock, but just back to my house. All right, so the next thing that I'm gonna do is use concealer 2. If I could find it. Here it is. So I'm just gonna take and use concealer 2 right here. So it's a little bit darker, but it matches my skin tone more than concealer 0. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of concealer 2 on my brush and highlight right under there. But while I'm highlighting, I am also priming my eyelid. So that way, whenever I do put my eyeshadow on, I'll have a better base for my eyeshadow to sit. And it'll help to stick it in place. So I'm just gonna take my finger and just kind of buff that out so it's nice and even, but you can already tell the difference in the color on my eye. So I've just given myself a neutral ground to put eyeshadow here, and this one, nothing's done to it. It is primed because I do have sunscreen on it, but sometimes that's not enough for our eyelids, especially if you have really, really oily eyelids. So again, just taking that color and pulling it down. And again, now I have two eyelids that are neutral in shape, so that way I can go ahead and put some color onto it. I'm just going to be quick and easy today and use very minimal products just to show you guys, but really and truly, I'm just kind of getting ready for my day because we have to go pick up my son from school and then we're going out to eat. So always, 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 first base primer on your face. Yes, we primed with sunscreen, so you'd think, okay, why isn't that enough? But if you have regular skin and you don't have deep inset pores, if you don't have deep wrinkles like the ones on my foreheads, you might not need that sunscreen. While it's great to protect your skin, a lot of people don't want to wear it on their face, which is totally fine. So you always want to make sure that you're priming with something. And with Lime Life's foundation, you want to make sure that you're using a water-based primer or a water-based setting spray whenever you're putting it on, because if it's anything other than that, because our foundation is wax-based, it's not going to bond with the primer. So it's so important. Whether you order Lime Life's first base primer or another one, I know Smashbox even uses a water-based primer, so you could even go check out Smashbox. But there's a bunch of different primers out there. So just make sure that whenever you look at the ingredients, one of the first two ingredients is water. Because if you're not using water-based primer, your foundation is not going to stick to your face, and you're going to be like, ugh, I paid all this money and now my stuff is not working. So you want to make sure you know about the products that you're using. A lot of times they will give you a suggestion on the things to use if you don't know. And that's also what I'm here as a beauty guide for. If you have any questions, I can help you answer them. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my Blenderful here and I'm just going to pat out my foundation just to make sure that there's no fine lines or wrinkle. No, I keep saying fine lines and wrinkles, but there's no lines from my foundation brush. And while I'm loving this unibrow, we're going to go ahead and take care of that too. So in this part, this is where you would look to see if you have any extra redness on your face that you want covered, because basically this is as thick as it's going to get unless I add more. So I have some area right here that I want to cover up a little more. So what I do is just take my Blenderful and just kind of turn it in here a couple of times so I get that foundation color on there, and then I'm just going to pat it around in that area so it gives me a little bit thicker than what I would normally have in that area, because I want it to be covered up more than normal. So still just patting out any lines, any wrinkles, anything like that. And so that's our foundation. Now I'm going to take my buffer brush here and just buff this little middle out right here, so that way we don't have a big old line in the middle. I took a little bit of foundation. So now, really, whenever you do the unibrow, it kind of creates two uniform eyebrows. So you don't have two that look like they're either running away from each other, they're not the same size, whatever the case may be. So that's where I would use that. Okay, so the next thing that I'm gonna use, this is one of my favorite tricks to do. I love to contour, especially with a cream concealer. I have not used anything else to contour besides Lime Life's cream concealer. So I use concealer number 6 in our foundation palette. So this is number 6, and this is what I use to contour on a daily basis, unless I'm in a really big hurry. Then I'll just use bronzer, and just to give me some color on my face. So this trick right here is one of my favorite ones. So if you don't know it, just follow along. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you right here. You see how it's just like kind of flows together because there's nothing cutting it? Well, over here, you have this line right here. So what we're going to do is create a shadow effect on our chin, making our jaw appear sharper. So you can already see how much sharper this side looks because it's got that line than this does. I already look thinner on one side than I do on the other. So if you're not doing this and you're wanting to give your face a little bit of definition, this is where that would come into play. So it can give you a little bit of definition, it can give you some dimension, but it can also shape your face. So my nose, there's really nothing wrong with it. I don't mind it. I think it's, you know, a decent looking nose. It's got a little button at the end, like it's cute, it's cool. But I like to contour my nose just a little bit. So I do 2 little lines right here, just making it look a little bit skinnier. And then I like to accentuate this little button right there. So I always put it right there. I also take and put a little bit underneath here, so that way it gives my bottom lip a bigger look. So all you're doing here is accentuating your already God-given features. You're not doing anything to take away from them, you're just accentuating them. So because I put this bronzer right here, I put it on the very bottom of my cheekbone, and it's going to create dimension. It's also going to create a crease in my face. So you can see how over here where it's not blended out, it just looks like one color. But over here, because this is lighter and this is darker, it creates a shadow effect, making this look bigger. So it draws my cheek in here and it gives me bigger cheekbones and gives me more definition here. So depending on where you want this to go and how high you want your cheekbones to go, that's going to depend on where you put your bronzer. So from here, I'm just going to buff it out to make sure that my color is even, so I look like it's coming from within and not sitting on top of my face. So that line's not straight, but we're going to fix that with concealer. But it just gives you the idea that you have a cut right there. So it also gives you that dimple right there that you might not have had before. I have a little bit of one, but it accentuates it more than it would have before. So this just gives you, you know, color on your forehead. If you have a larger forehead, this is really where this trick would come into play, because it's going to give your forehead the idea that it looks smaller. Not the idea. It's not going to give your forehead an idea. Your brain has ideas. So there's that. But this is just going to make your forehead have like a little bit of a shadow. So that way it kind of looks like it's smaller in appearance. If only I could speak. Okay, so I just kind of rub it around on my jawline here so I can buff out the line, but then I take the rest of it and I pull it down here. And so it's giving me the same color, but this is just a little bit darker, and now it makes my chin sharper. So I don't have a line underneath there, so you can't really see a line, but because it's lighter right here and darker right here, it gives it a shadow effect. And so really and truly, you're just helping out your chin. Another little trick that you can do for this right here is I'm going to take a flat foundation brush, so it just looks like this, and I'm going to take Concealer Zero. This is Lime Life's very light concealer, and then I'm just going to take and put a little bit of color right here. It still makes it look sharp. Okay, so you're gonna rub that out right here. All right, now for my nose. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna squish it just like this. So squish it really thin. And I'm just gonna take from that line and just buff it out from there. The last thing you want to do is create a line on your nose and have it sit there. So you want to make sure that you're buffing it out to where you get all the lines out. And it really just looks like it's sitting within your skin. So that's the whole point of it. Yes, it goes on really, really dark. And so many people are terrified to contour with a cream or even just a powder. And I understand why. So you just want to make sure that you buff it out to where you don't have any lines. Now, we're going to go back and correct a lot of this with Concealer Zero afterwards. So all I'm doing is blending it out first. You can put it all out or first. Or you can add your Concealer Zero and do it together. It's really whatever your preference is. Mine is not, I don't like to do it that way just because I like to put the Concealer Zero where I'm gonna need it. So same thing, just buffing it out. I try to go in circles as best I can. That way I don't mess anything up. So in this instance, I'm just going to take the same blenderful and I'm going to pat right here in these areas because I don't want this front to look so much darker than the rest of my face because I don't want it to leave that right there. So here I'm just going to pat this out a little bit more because again, you want your makeup to look natural. At least I, for one, want my makeup to look natural unless I'm going out somewhere or something along those lines. So I like it to feel like it's very natural. I don't have a lot of products on, which with this makeup, you really don't have to have a lot of products on, which I absolutely love. So you use bare minimum and get great coverage. So I'm just gonna blend this out up here, and then we're gonna come back with our Concealer Zero. Okay, so just continuing to blend it out. All right, so now we're gonna take our flat foundation brush. I already have a little bit of Concealer Zero on here. This is Concealer Zero. So I'm just gonna take this and I am going to apply it underneath my eyes to brighten them up and to highlight. And I'm also gonna bring the product through the side of my face, okay? So it's just gonna help to bring my eye up and just look brighter. So if you struggle with that, this is definitely a technique that you could try. The way it smells reminds me of my grandmother's makeup, and I loved her makeup. I mean, she passed away over 15 years ago, but it just still makes me like think about that smell. Kind of smells like her white diamonds and her oil of Olay product. All right, so this really is just gonna go on my T-zone, but then I'm also gonna take it and put it right under here. Like I told y'all, we were gonna clean it up. So a little goes a long way and you can see how well it goes. Okay, so same thing over here. Very, very lightly. And all I'm doing is creating a little look on my face. And it just helps your face. Like you can literally make your face shape whatever you want it to be. That is why I love it so much. So you can either take this brush and continue patting it out just to set it, or you could take your blenderful, which is my favorite little guy, and you can also use it to pat out this area too. So all I'm doing is patting it out. You want to make sure that whenever you're using your blenderful, you're not rubbing like this and you're not rubbing like this. You're patting it out. So that way your makeup is staying in the place that you need it to be in, but you're helping it to set. So you're taking any extra makeup that you have on your face off of your face, basically, giving you the right amount of product in the places that you need. You can literally blend till the cows come home, which is one of the reasons I love this. So we're just continuing to blend and 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 blend, 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 blend and blend and blend and blend and blend. Okay, sorry, I got too carried away there. All right, so now that we have our contour, we have our highlight, we're like pretty much almost set. So now you actually want to be set, so you set it. So I have two different approaches to baking. You can either bake with HD powder, and if you haven't tried our HD powders, you're missing out. And you can also bake with translucent powder, which is literally the go-to. I don't like it to sit under my eyes because I have very dry under eyes. So if I set it under my eyes, then I feel like I look like I have fish scales. So I like to take just my small powder brush and I'll rub it right in that translucent powder just to get a good bit on there. And this is where I'm gonna pat it out because I don't want it too thick, but I also don't want my makeup to go anywhere. You can take this time to put it on your eyelids as well. So you're putting a little extra on there, just like so. You can highlight in all the areas. You can apply the translucent powder in all the areas. The one good thing about it being white is that whenever you're putting it on, it's not going to turn your makeup any other colors. So it'll help that highlight to shine through. Now, another thing that you can do is these are our palettes, the Beauty Guides palettes for the HD powders. So we have 1 through 10. So they actually come in full size, like the size of this foundation. So they're much bigger whenever you get a full size one. But for now, I'm sorry guys, my husband's outside doing God knows what manly shit in the outdoors. So loud. So I'm just taking my foundation color. This gives you that HD look. It's going to help you to look flawless in pictures. It's going to help you minimize the pores on your face, the overall appearance of them. And it just gives you that overall like look on your face, which I absolutely love. So in this case, instead of using bronzer, I always use our HD powders. So we have different colors, obviously. So I like to take these HD powders and just kind of enhance where I already contoured. But not only that, it helps to set that contour in place because I'm not putting a lighter color over the top of it. So it really just helps to set it in place, but also gives me a little additional coverage that I didn't have before. So you always want to make sure you do your neck too. I always forget to set my neck and I'm like, man, my neck feels very sticky or like dewy. So the last thing in this whole process that I do is take another fluffy brush. So it can be a fluffy brush like this, a fluffy brush like this, a fluffy brush like this, or a fluffy brush like this. By the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned to you, I'm not a professional. I just do this because I have fun with it. So you can take any one of the brushes that you want, and I just like to take the whole face and just kind of run it together. So then that way everything looks uniform. I don't have any lines anywhere, anything like that. And I'm just hoping to soften up the whole look. So then it really looks natural. It doesn't look like you have so much makeup on your face that, you know, you look like a clown. So the next thing that I am going to do is use the same HD powder that I used on my contour on my eyelids. So this is just super easy, super quick, and something that you don't even have to think about doing. You put it on your eyelids and it gives you the perfect pop of color. Nothing too dramatic. Still keeping it very neutral, but because I have green eyes, it brightened up my eyes just a little bit more. So these are products that you will probably already have, or, you know, like I'm lazy and so I don't like to do a whole bunch of eyeshadow all the time. So if I don't want to do a whole bunch of eyeshadow, whatever bronzer I have on, whatever blush I'm using, anything like that, that's the color that I will take and use for my eyes. Because it takes the thinking out of it. Hardcore takes the thinking out of it. Okay, so that is that. The next thing that I am going to do is get my dark nude liner here and line my lips. This is dark nude liner number uno. All right, while I get my lipstick on, I'm gonna sit on my mascara for a few minutes. Just pop one of these babies open. Y'all, this is one of my fave colors. This is number 109 with the new Ally Raisman collection, and it's a very nude color, but it goes on so pretty. Like, how pretty is that? And there's just nothing better than a big, thick lipstick. But the best part is it's so freaking creamy and it's so moisturizing. Like, for weeks, I wasn't wearing them because I didn't put makeup on. And so my lips kept getting dry and dry and dry and dry and dry and dry and dry. Could not for the life of me figure out why my lips were getting so dry. I'm not gonna say it's because I wasn't using that, but I was replacing it with chapstick, and like, I could not get my lips not to be chapped. So this is our brown mascara, so you can see right here. This is our brown mascara, so I'm just kind of going off the whole neutral theme instead of doing an eyeliner, just keeping it simple. This helps make your eyelashes look longer because you don't have any eyeliner in there and you don't have anything taking away from the length of your lashes. So whenever you put on liner, if it's not very, very thin and you put it on, then your lashes look so small. And like, I already have that issue. I don't need my lashes to look even smaller than they already are. So I love it for this look. But because it's brown, it's very light and it's very subtle. So it just goes on your eyes and it doesn't make you look dramatic at all. This is an easy, like, glam look. If you want to feel like you have makeup on, it doesn't have to take you a very long time. This took me probably about 30 minutes because I stopped and started a few times. And altogether, talking about it, it probably could have taken me about 15 minutes to do a look like that. But some of these steps, a lot of people do not need to do. If you don't like to contour with a cream, you can easily use a bronzer. If you don't like HD powders, you can use translucent powder. If you don't even like bronzer or to contour, you can skip that step altogether and put just blush on. Or you can literally do foundation, mascara, and lips. Those are like the basics for anyone. That is one of the reasons I absolutely love this company, is because everything is so versatile and they meet everyone's needs, and anyone and everyone can use the products. So whether you're 5 or 55 or 85, they're not bad for your skin. And they're not putting any harsh chemicals back into your bloodline, which is one of the things that I love most about this company, is because it's all natural. Am I an all natural person? No. Do I use, am I gluten-free? Am I all those things? No, not at all. But when somebody said, you realize that you put chemicals into your skin whenever you use all these products, and then whenever the chemicals get in there, they seep down to your bloodline. I'm like, excuse me, what? I did not know that about all these other things. So then it really made me start to look at my makeup that I was using the older I got, because it made me nervous. If I'm being quite honest with you, like, I don't want to die of cancer. Like, that's my biggest fear. Like, that is how I feel like I'm going to go. That's very morbid, but anywho, that was just one of the terrifying things about life. So I'm just taking translucent powder and setting that on here too. And before I forget, I'm going to take the same brush, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of peachy blush right in here just to give me a little bit more color. And there you go. This is my Get Ready With Me, and it's my 20-minute makeup look that doesn't have to take 20 minutes. So If you enjoyed any of these products, you can visit my website and get them if you're interested. If you have any questions, you can easily send me a message or you can comment on the video below and I'll be happy to get back to you and answer them. So I appreciate you guys watching very, very much. I hope you guys catch some more of my videos. And again, spread me around like butter on a biscuit. Spread me around like butter on a biscuit. Spread me around.
Butter on a biscuit.